Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Gary Witherspoon, Public Outreach Deputy Director for the Purple Line. On behalf of Governor Westmore, Transportation Secretary Paul Wiedefeld, and Maryland Transit Administration Administrator Holly Arnold, welcome to the 11th Community Advisory Team meeting for the Greater Lyttonsville Woodside areas. This meeting is being recorded, so you'll be able to find it later on our website, purplelinemd.com. That's purplelinemd.com. Along with responses to questions we will answer tonight and those we could either not answer or could not get to. As a courtesy, we are continuing to host these meetings online. We're happy with the response we've received since moving these meetings to virtual. Now, please mute your microphones and keep your cameras off until after the presentation. Also, please mute your telephones. For those who would like a live translation, the Teams format can translate this evening's comments into a number of languages, including Spanish, Arabic, Chinese, French, and many others. Instructions for seeing live translations are being placed in the chat area of this meeting. Our translator, MTS Outreach Liaison, Catherine Webb, will now relay that information in Spanish.
Buenas noches y bienvenidos. Para aquellos que desean una traducción en vivo, Teams puede traducir los comentarios de esta tarde a varios idiomas, incluyendo español, árabe, chino, francés y muchos más. Las instrucciones para ver las traducciones en vivo se están colocando en el área de chat de esta reunión. Back to you, Gary.
Gracias. Tonight, we'll update you on the project status. We'll take a look at the project timeline. We'll provide a construction update, during which we'll discuss work completed. We'll show you some progress photos. We'll tell you about upcoming work and talk about community engagement. And we'll take questions, first from CAT members and then everyone else. Please hold all questions until after the presentation. And we ask that you limit your questions or comments to 1 minute. Tonight, we're joined by MTA Project Director Ray Biggs II, Doran Basso, CEO of the concessionaire Purple Line Transit Partners, Hugo Fontourage, Project Executive for Maryland Transit Solutions, also known as MTS, the project's builder, Mike Edelin, Construction Segment Lead for MTS, and Carla Julian, the MTS Stakeholder Manager. Tonight, we'll cover the segment of the Purple Line that includes the following stations: Lyttonsville and 16th Street, Woodside. We are excited to share that we have created new renderings, one of which we're sharing for the first time during this meeting. Here's the 16th Street Woodside station, a side platform station that will be adjacent to 16th Street and the CSX Metro tracks near the Spring Street Bridge. The project will enhance safety around each station. We've created a series of renderings that will give the public a true depiction of how station areas will look. And all of the renderings can be found on the project website, purplelinemd.com. Now I'm going to turn the meeting over to Project Director Ray Biggs II. And again, please stay muted and hold all questions until after the presentation.
Thank you, Gary. And again, welcome everyone to our CAT meeting for tonight. And to kick it off for the project status part of the CAT meeting, we have a video to give you a fall 2023 update. I am sitting here at one of the many businesses that will benefit from the Purple Line, directly across the street from the new Riverdale North UMD station. This will be the first complete station. As we near the end of 2023, the nearly 1,000 workers building the Purple Line is making measurable progress along the alignment. Another significant improvement is the new stormwater management system. This includes miles of new pipes ranging from 12 inches to over 72 inches in diameter. More than 53% of this new pipework is now complete. Along with concrete pipes, our teams have installed over 20,000 square feet of underground sand filters, retention ponds, and planter boxes, all important parts of the new stormwater drainage system. These critical environmental upgrades may not be visible above ground, but must be completed before tracks are added. In Bethesda, work connecting the elevator to Metro's Red Line has reached the bottom of the shaft, and teams have started excavating horizontally to create the cavern. The Elm Street pedestrian path across the alignment, as well as another half a dozen bridges and underpasses, will serve the new and improved Capitol Crescent Trail. Concrete placement of the historic Talbot Avenue Bridge occurred in early 2023, along with necessary road improvements, making it possible to open the road this year. Concrete for the elevated Silver Spring Station and the elevated Kenilworth Riverdale Station are complete, and crews are hard at work on the utilities and other advanced station elements. And speaking of stations, more than half of Purple Line stations are currently under construction, with structural canopies installed at Riverdale Park North UMD. Canopies provide an exciting glimpse of how Purple Line stations will look. During the summer break at the University of Maryland, crews accomplished a tremendous amount of work, completing drainage, roads, and tracks. Over 1,500 linear feet of track is now in place on campus as part of the 5 future stations servicing the University of Maryland. Along Veterans Parkway, our Glen Ridge Operation and Maintenance Facility is fully operational, with yard utilities and specialty track installation underway. Purple Line light rail vehicles are scheduled for delivery here in early 2024. Thanks for watching our progress update video for the Purple Line. You can get key information and updates at purplelinemd.com. All right, we have been really busy over the last few months and this summer. We, in fact, are more than 58% complete with construction across the alignment. And in the video, you can see a lot of the work that has been going on from the 60 active construction sites with approximately 1,100 workers working across the alignment. And with that construction, we've relocated about 98% of the underground utilities across the alignment. In addition, we've installed more than half of the overhead catenary pole foundations along the alignment, which will help to support the power for the Purple Line. And we've installed 3 out of 10 traction power substations, which will supply that power to run the Purple Line for us. And as mentioned in the video, our first station canopy was installed at the Riverdale Park North UMD station, and we are working hard to install more across the alignment. Additionally, 26 of the 28 light rail vehicles are complete and ready for delivery. And in fact, those are some very large vehicles. They are 142 feet in length. We actually got to see them in Elmira recently, which they are in New York right now. And as mentioned, more than half, and to be exact, 11 of our stations are under construction, 11 of the 21, and today we will focus on Lyttonsville. With that, I'll pass it over to our Chief Executive Officer for Purple Line Transit Partners, Doran Basso.
Thanks, Ray. If we could go to the next slide, let's take a high-level look at where the project is headed in the coming years. This summer, the project went before the Maryland Board of Public Works and gained approval to extend the contractual deadline for passenger service to spring 2027, as you can see in the chart. but let's walk through what's coming up next. As Ray mentioned, our light rail vehicles are very close to being ready for delivery at the O&M facility sometime in the first half of 2024. With that, we'll work to complete the test track, which is a little bit over a mile-long segment of the track we'll use to test those vehicles before we move towards system-wide testing along the whole alignment. The whole team is focused and getting ready to open in spring 2027. So now I'll turn it over to Mike for more details on the upcoming construction in your community.
Yeah, hi, I'm Mike Edelin. I was on the meeting the last time around, so on the segment lead there for segment 1, which this area from Rock Creek to Silver Spring is under my purview, and then also from Rock Creek back towards Bethesda. We have accomplished quite a bit over the past 6 months or so. Most notably at Rock Creek, we poured the safety walks and removed overhang jacks. So if you walk the Rock Creek Park, the construction temporary supports are removed, and you can see the concrete facing of the bridge. We continue stream restoration efforts. We began some of the finish work on the rail bridge, getting ready for safety railing and some of the concrete approach segments. And we began the Capitol Crescent Trail underpass, which is just past Rock Creek going towards Silver Spring. There's an underpass that brings the trail from one side of the alignment to the other. So that excavation is complete, and we're moving forward with the concrete work there. Upcoming will be obviously continuing with the stream restoration and completing that. The underpass work that I mentioned will be completing that, and installing the Capitol Crescent Trail steel bridge, the one that goes over the Rock Creek stream itself. That's upcoming in the early part of next year. The storm drainage installation that connects our alignment down towards the Rock Creek stream, that will be the final connections will be coming up, and the new Rock Creek Trail connection, which is between the Rock Creek Trail and the CCT. There's a serpentine ramp section that connects those two paths. Next slide. Or am I in control? No. Hello?
We're on the next slide, Mike. You okay? See
it? I think it's my internet connection. It was sorry, it was lagged there for a second. The Lyttonsville station area up by the yard, we've been continuing storm drainage installation there. We installed a number of the overhead catenary pole foundations. The station construction commenced, and we began quite a bit of the wall construction. At this point, we're well on our way to completing the number of retaining walls in this area, probably 80-90% completed at this point in that area. Upcoming, we'll be completing the wall construction, continuing the station construction and the connection to the Lyttonsville Bridge, and beginning the stormwater management facility, the several ponds and retention systems in this vicinity. There's quite a few that, as this area feeds Rock Creek, there's quite a few underground systems there. Next slide. Up at Talbot Avenue, the road itself, we completed the wall along Talbot Avenue. The residents will see that's been erected and backfilled now. We continued storm drainage installation along the road and up the approach area, and connecting that back towards the sediment trap that's behind the buildings. We began roadway construction of Talbot Avenue between Michigan and Lanier, and if you were out there now, you'll see we removed our temporary traffic barriers and installed some road base there. And we began sidewalk construction. Upcoming, we'll be completing the sidewalk and curbway for the residents, and also the sidewalk on the trail connection, and paving and opening Talbot Avenue Road there, the resurfacing between Lanier and Michigan. Next slide. Up at Talbot Avenue Bridge, just past that area, we constructed the ramps behind the Rosemary Hill School, placed concrete bridge deck and we began parapet wall and sidewalk construction on the bridge. The parapet walls on both sides are now complete, and we're moving into the sidewalk. Upcoming, we'll be completing the ramp and completing the parapets in this area. That's that concrete architectural facing and traffic barrier that's on both sides of the road, and opening the bridge for public use. Next slide. Behind Rosemary Hill School, between that and the project, we, in advance of the students returning to class, we installed new sidewalk along the approach segment of Talbot Avenue Bridge. We restored parking spaces and installed a new stair connection to the road. We'll be continuing to maintain construction fencing between work zone and school property. Next slide. Woodside Station, which is up a 16th Street Bridge, we relocated sewer and water connections. We completed 3 of the 4 jack and bore operations. The remaining pipe under CSX is a stormwater pipe, which is upcoming, and restored Ballard Avenue, which is on the opposite side of the CSX and Wilmota tracks as the alignment. Upcoming, we'll be doing that last jack and bore for the stormwater facility, beginning wall construction along 16th Street and installing the yard storm drain structure in that area. Well, right now it's a yard, but you saw in the rendering how the future, it's a station there with a grassway or some landscaping. Next slide. Maintenance of traffic, some of the various areas that we're working in the street. We have traffic patterns that will change as the work progresses. Talbot Avenue is mostly moving on to all lanes being open. It's not yet open to through traffic, but will be upcoming. Work may occur on both sides of the road and across roadways. We have some areas where we're still making some utility connections, not the relocations, but there's some minor connections for the station water and electric and things like that. And there'll be lane closures associated with some of that work. And you'll see orange cones and barrels for this type of operation, flaggers directing traffic on either side of the work areas. And that will be for underground utility work, which may require some road plates. So if it's closed, if the work isn't backfilled completely by the end of the shift, we have road plates for overnight work. Well, overnight between the shifts. I think that's the last slide. Yeah, next will be Carla.
Sure. Just to let everybody know, this is how you best contact the project. If you have not signed up for notifications, you can do that at Purple Line MD. That's how you're going to find out about weekend work, night work, all of those type of things. If you need to reach us with inquiries, concerns, outreach at Purple Line MD. If you are a member of the media, you can now reach us at media@Purple Line MD to ask questions or schedule interviews. And we do have hotlines in both English and Spanish. And of course, you can find us on social media through the following platforms. And I guess with that, I will turn it back over to Doran for some good news.
Thanks, Carla. So we will conclude our slide presentation today with our announcement of the launch of our community grant program called Beyond the Rails. As you see on the slide, the purpose of this grant program is to support neighboring community groups along the alignment. As long-term members of the community ourselves, the goal of our grant program is to provide funding that can help these worthy groups achieve their goals. So our deadline for our first 6 grant applications is November 30th, and we'll notify awardees soon thereafter. And going forward, we'll accept grants whenever they come in and plan to issue 6 grants every half year. We invite as many local community groups as possible to apply for our grants, which will range from $1,000 to $3,000 per year, and all the information is at the address below. So if any of you here in our meeting are affiliated with a group doing good work in our community that would benefit of a grant, I encourage you to take a few minutes to apply. It's fairly simple online web application that you can access from that link. And we'd very much appreciate you spreading the word. The more applications we get, the better the chances our program will do the most good. So we're proud to take this step in giving back to the community, and we hope you'll help us do that. And with that, I'll hand it back over to Gary.
Thank you, Doran. This concludes our CAP presentation. I don't see any elected officials, but if you're on here, please raise your hands and we'll acknowledge you. In the meantime, before we open the floor to live questions, we're gonna have Carla run through some questions we received before the meeting.
Sure, Gary. Give me just 1 second here. Okay, so we're going to go through some of these that we received in advance. If you don't hear your question answered, you will be able to look for it in the Q&A when that gets published. We want to make sure that we have enough time for live questions as well. So, first question, when will the elevator to the Lyttonsville station and permanent sidewalks on the bridge be completed? We are anticipating spring 2024 for this. Next question. When will the Talbot Avenue Bridge be open to traffic for both pedestrians and vehicles? Our goal is to do this by the end of the year. And as we approach that, we will certainly let you know if that's changing at all. Next question is about the Spring Street Bridge. When will that bridge across CSX Metro Rail corridor be completed? We are anticipating summer of 2024 for this. Next question, will the 16th Street Bridge sidewalks be widened to provide safer access to the Purple Line station? No, it's not being widened. We're revising the bridge deck. We're not revising that bridge deck in any way. The only work being performed will be under the bridge. The project is adding a new sidewalk from Bradford Place to the bridge. Next question. The sidewalk on the southeast side of 16th Street is narrow for a major roadway, and this will see increased pedestrian traffic to the Woodside 16th Street Purple Line stop. Will the sidewalk at this location be widened as it crosses the CSX tracks? No. The sidewalk in this area is not planned to be adjusted. Only adjustments are on the southwest side of the road. Next, will 3rd Avenue be restored after utility work has been completed? And will the restoration include curbs, gutters, and a sidewalk? No, 3rd Avenue is being restored to its current condition by the Purple Line project. However, Montgomery County has a program where these items are under consideration. Next, is the Purple Line team installing a sidewalk on Ballard Street connecting to 2nd Avenue, or is that work being completed by the county as a separate project? The Purple Line project is not installing a sidewalk on Ballard Street. That is a question for Montgomery County. We are adding a trail connection at 16th Street. Next question.
Yeah. Carla?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Christina Contreras. I'm with Montgomery County Department of Transportation. And I just wanted to say very quickly that with regard to the Ballard Street question, Montgomery County will be installing a sidewalk on the east side of Ballard Street from 2nd Avenue to 3rd Avenue. And this work is part of our BIPA, which is Bicycle and Pedestrian Priority Area Study that was completed back in 2021. And as part of the BIPA work, the county will be performing additional pedestrian improvements along Ballard, including reconstruction of non-compliant curb ramps, existing sidewalks, and driveway aprons to make them ADA compliant from Georgia to 3rd Avenue, just to clarify that. So thanks, Carla, for the brief moment.
Thanks, Chrissy. Okay, next question. When will catenary lines and tracks be installed between Spring Street and the Talbot Street Bridge? We're anticipating winter 2024 to 2025 for that. Next question. Please describe the crash walls separating CSX from the Purple Line tracks. So these are approximately 6 feet above finished grades. The ones along Talbot Avenue will be completed first, and then we'll progress east. Overall for these, we anticipate completion of all the crash walls in the area by summer 2024. Now I will turn it back over to Gary for some live questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Julie Lees has a question. Please raise your hand if you do have a question.
Yeah.
And then unmute yourself and fire away. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm unmuted. I have collected several questions from my community. I'll try to go through them very quickly. First question, is there going to be a crash wall on the North Woodside side of the bridge as the traffic comes off the bridge toward the homes? People are concerned about how steep the slope is of the bridge.
As far as the crash wall, when we talk about the crash walls, that's a specific wall that geometry and the sizing is all based on the requirements between CSX trains and the Purple Line trains. It's a transit issue with the trains, but we're gonna have barriers there along the bridge. You'll see like it's more of a regular traffic barrier you might see driving down the highway that it's like a barbell looking structure where the bottom's wider and the top it gets narrow, similar to what you'd see on any regular highway. And you'll see those starting to get constructed, or if you were up near the bridge, what's on top of the bridge now continues on down the approach ramp. It's not extra high or anything. It's just like a regular highway divider.
Okay, I'm not referring to the bridge itself. I'm referring to, I believe it's 4th Avenue as traffic comes off the bridge and makes a sharp right. Hopefully they make the right.
Yeah, along the houses there.
Yeah.
There's no concrete wall on that side of the street.
Right, that's what I thought. Has somebody analyzed the safety of traffic coming off the bridge if they're coming at higher than proper speed or they don't stop?
I think we can look into that question and get back to you. I mean, all of our design is signed off by professional engineers, so all of that does go through a review process. So the answer is yes, but if you want specifics for that, I think we can better detail that for you and provide a fuller answer in the QA for sure.
Okay. Next question. Water drainage and sewers on our side of the bridge. Again, because people see the steepness and changes in the approach to the road there, there's concern about water drainage. Has that been addressed? And can you explain how?
Yes. So as part of the Purple Line project, I'm guessing that you're concerned about water coming onto your property.
It's not my property.
Well, properties in general. And part of the project is we cannot put additional water onto people's property. So all of our drainage does take into the engineering and design fact that we are carrying that for the Purple Line, and all of the storm drainage and different utility upgrades allow for that. So all of that has been planned into the design and engineering of the Purple Line.
Okay. There was a question about framing and so forth that people have observed on the Rosemary Hills property, and I'm assuming that all goes away. That aside from those stairs that you referenced, the school property is unchanged when you're done.
Yeah, that framing is just temporary to support the concrete work.
Okay. You said the bridge is expected to be open by the end of the year, and there have been several questions about whether there is a possibility the pedestrian access opening before the full bridge is open.
Yeah, that's correct. And we're gonna, I think, have a meeting of some kind to. I mean, Carla can answer that better as far as.
I mean, yeah, I think we are considering that as much as we can right now. We cannot commit to anything, but
it's
as we progress, as we progress construction, we're still very much trying to consider that.
Okay.
Okay, we can come back. Let's move on to others with questions, please.
Okay.
All right. Before we do, please raise your hand using the icon atop your screen, and you'll be acknowledged. You can also type questions in the chat section. Again, we ask that you limit your questions or comments to 1 minute. If your question is not addressed tonight, don't worry. All questions will be addressed later in a question and response posting on the website. Similar questions will be combined, so you may not see your question posted verbatim. Additionally, we will accept questions for another week at outreach@purplelinemd.com. That's outreach@purplelinemd.com. I see that Roger Payton has a question.
Yes, thank you. I have a bunch of questions too, but I'll limit myself to just one right now. It has to do with the Capitol Crescent Trail. Basically, I'd like to know what your views on opening the trail are. In the past, you've talked about not opening the trail until the line itself opens. Is that still your plan?
The general comment about the Capitol Crescent Trail opening early, obviously we mentioned as long as it's safe for the passengers or the people walking in areas that's close to our new rail or near construction, there's that thing to take into consideration. And then there's the work sequencing as well, as far as not not the priority right now is getting the Purple Line train tracks and the train systems operational, as opposed to the Capitol Crescent Trail behind like 4th Avenue in that area. But if we are able to, then we'll be able to communicate some kind of a timeline for that.
I take it that what you're worried about is some safety concerns involved with the testing.
Well, that,
As
and
far
we
as
have
the
to use
sections
it,
that are near the rail, yes, yeah.
and then we still need to use that area for access as well. So that plays into it. So I think final answer is we can't commit to anything, but we are trying to consider that. So as we get closer to that time, we'll continue to have conversations about this.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a question from Joel Ryerson.
Good evening, everyone. I just have concern about the right-on operations at Brookville Road. They told me they're gonna have some of the parking lot disappearing and have the train yards for the Purple Line. And the bus routes on 16th Street, Brookville Road, Michigan Avenue. The bus, I guess the bus is not gonna be too affected on Michigan Avenue. Mostly Brookville Road and 16th Street. Are they gonna? I know we have to check on the ride-on company, see if they have any changes. If they do, they probably notify us, unless they having a public hearing or something. That's my question. Thank you.
Exactly, Joel. The bus companies will determine where exactly the routes will be and how they'll be impacted. And that'll be determined down the road. So we don't know at this point how they will be impacted directly.
So how about
Okay.
the ride-on operations on Brookville Road?
You'd have to check with them, Joel. We don't know how ride-on will be impacted.
Right.
I
And
know they're gonna
Joel,
take some of the parking lot away from them in the train yard.
Joel, Montgomery
Somebody
County.
heard the last time.
Hi, Joel. Montgomery County has been working together with them to ensure that there's ample parking for the Brookville operations there at the depot. And so at least at that point, and we're still in discussions, and those discussions will continue as construction gets further along, especially as it relates to the ride-on buses, their routes, and just even how they're coming out of the Brookville depot. Thanks, Joel.
Thanks, Joel.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Julie asked, when can landscaping plans begin in process with the county, i.e., when can we apply for trees to be planted along the banks and trail? Chris, can you address that?
Sure, turning my camera back on again. At least at this time, we can't, because of the way the right-of-way is being designated for Purple Line use, at this time, we can't entertain issuing any permits or of that nature for any additional landscaping or whatnot to occur. And that would be something that would have to be fully reviewed by us as part of the permitting process. At this time, I would say we wouldn't even entertain applications till after the Purple Lines open in 2027. So just because of how our agreements with the state are structured. So, but but again, we're still early, so we'll see how it goes as things move along. Thank you.
Okay, we got another question about the Capitol Crescent Trail. Would the section of the Capitol Crescent Trail between Talbot Avenue and downtown Silver Spring be a likely candidate for early opening?
Again, that's going to be the same answer. We cannot make commitments right now, but we are considering that as much as we can. And as we progress the project, we will have further discussions.
Okay, there's a question on here about power outages at Claridge House and whether they are related or not to the Purple Line. I'm not sure we can address that, and
Actually, if I get more information on that, I probably can. I think you guys have my number, but you can still reach out to me. If I get more information, I'll help investigate that offline so we can figure it out.
Okay, Roger, you have another question?
Several, actually, but right now, can you describe the safety features that will be installed at Stewart Avenue, where Stewart Avenue crosses the Purple Line tracks at grade?
Yeah, that was one of the pre-questions, I believe, that we have. They'll probably be posted or something like that. But it's an at-grade crossing, so there's the usual gate that goes up and down, similar to any other train crossing, and then there's the light, the signal as well.
Will there be bells or horns?
The bells and horns with the train, I can't speak to that. That's a recurring question about when the horns sound and things like that. I think that's related to the operations team.
Yeah, I think we can get back to that one. We'll put that one in our follow-up.
Yeah, let me just remind you, there are residents near there. Thank you.
Okay, other questions? Again, you can raise your hand using the hand raising option. Roger, go fire away.
Just a quick one. Some of the earlier designs had a maintenance building at the corner of Lyttonsville Place and Brookville Road. Is that still in the plans, or have you moved that entirely to PG County?
There's still a maintenance facility there. It's down on the alignment, so as far as the visibility, it's quite a bit below the road, down below all those retaining walls. But there is a facility. It's mostly storage tracks. It's not this large building where trains drive into the building like you see the Glen Ridge photos. It's not like that. It's more of a storage area, and there's some limited maintenance capability there. And mainly it's secondary communications, connection, and some other infrastructure related items. The building itself is much smaller.
Okay, we have a question from Todd Johnson. Please unmute yourself.
Yep, sorry, thanks. Yeah, I wrote it in the chat line, but from the timeline, it said that the Purple Line will send from just the timeline. It looked like the Purple Line will actually be complete in early 2026, but then it's like another year before opening. Is that correct? And that seems like a very long time for system-wide testing. Can somebody explain that?
I'd say generally speaking, that is about right. There is roughly a year, give or take, for system-wide testing. However, our experience around the country and indeed North America kind of proves out that that's oftentimes needed to just make extra sure. Obviously, we can't take any risks with safety. So oftentimes a system of this complexity and length does take that long to test.
Is that similar to what the Silver Line to Dulles took?
I don't know that one specifically.
Okay. Thank you.
I've also been told that anyone with power outages should contact PEPCO. Other questions? Joel, you have another.
Well, I have a comment. I keep on hearing those echoes, and also the fair too. And I already know about the fair, but the echo, it kept on echoing when you guys are talking.
I don't know why that is, Joel. But if you're not on the phone if you're not on the phone or being speaking, please mute your microphones.
The poll was the issue. Somebody might have had mute their phone or the advice. Maybe they didn't mute it.
All right,
But
go
I
ahead,
think
Roger.
it's cleared up now.
A quick question about the bridge or the tunnel under Jones Bridge Road. When are you going to finish that? Perhaps more specifically, when are you going to move the road to the other side?
Yeah, that came up because it's kind of out of geographically out of this presentation, but that did come up in last week's when we were talking in Bethesda that we're targeting to move the traffic imminently by the end of the year is our goal there.
Okay, good.
As far as there's another whole section of tunnel that has to go in after that, but I think primarily people are concerned with getting a freshly paved road.
Thanks.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good evening, everyone. I do apologize for being late. I was working on so many things here. I don't know why I thought a meeting was at 7 o'clock. I didn't hear the presentation, so you probably already said something about, is anyone on here from Department of Transportation on this call?
Hi, Patricia. It's Christina Contreras. Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Christina. Is anyone, are you Department of Transportation?
Yes, I am. Montgomery County DOT.
Okay, thank you, Christina. A few days ago, someone was to come to my house that had an appointment, and she's not familiar with Silver Spring, and so she came off of the Beltway, and the Beltway is still bringing people that have to come in the area here, Rosemary Hills, Lyttonsville, whatever, to Grace Church Road to come to the bridge. Okay. And so she got there and didn't know what to do. So of course she had to figure out, where to go and try to do it from another direction. And she asked people. We were told a long time ago that the GPS could not change the route from the Beltway to not come over the bridge. Now, the bridge has been closed for 2 or 3 years, and I'm sure there have been lots of people that have come off and come to that area trying to cross the bridge to get in here. Why is it impossible to have the route changed?
Pat, that's a very good question, and I'll look into that and get back to you on it because, yeah, I don't see they can put new routes in quickly. Let's see if we can just get it where it has to be detoured until the bridge is opened.
Well, it's almost, it's been closed for 3 years. I mean, and people have just been really upset about that. And the second thing is, I know that there's been a situation going on about the trucks that park on Lyttonsville Road. But what I would, and someone just asked me recently, why can't there be a stop sign that makes it 3-way stop? And I did see an answer to that, it would be holding up traffic or something like that. Has the Department of Transportation really studied that intersection when people are trying to come across the bridge of Lyttonsville Place to make a left turn onto Lyttonsville Road? Rush hour and sometimes during the middle of the day, have they made a study about a third stop sign?
Pat, I'll check with our traffic engineering operations. I thought they had, but I'll have to confirm with them on that one and get back to you. And you're talking about when you're coming what I'll call is, from the bridge toward the community center,
Yes.
at that location there.
Yes, because lots of traffic is coming from Brookville Road, but also going on to Brookville Road once it comes out Grubb Road and comes around on WSSC and makes the left turn. And yesterday, I know I was there sitting a long time, and a vehicle had to go into WSSC, so that held up the traffic so that we could make a left turn and get on to Lyttonsville Road.
Okay, let me circle back to you, Pat.
Okay, we have a question from Stacy Brown.
Yes. Hi, Pat. Thank you for leading into the traffic. And I'm glad I have someone from DOT on here because I probably mentioned this at a couple of meetings. I know, Pat, you're talking about at a different location. But one of the requests we have had, and it's probably even needed before Purple Line, is to have some sort of traffic study for that area. One of the things I watch happen is we have folks who park, they're probably working, they're trying to cross the street, like right at the bridge in rush hour. And I mean, they just can't get across the street. And then, there is a right-on bus stop there. So I would definitely think at a minimum, there would be something to allow people who need to cross the street to get to the bus. I have one person who does try to cross over and get to the bus, and depending on the time of day, it's impossible. But that is something that I've sort of mentioned a couple of times, is doing a traffic study on that Brookville Road, because there's only one stopping point, and the only one people really pay attention to actually and slow down is after Wider Circle. But I can just foresee, as you get more traffic from people using the Purple Line, it's only going to get worse than it is. So it would be great if we could preempt that and at least understand what some of the traffic calming needs might be today, and anticipate how that might even grow once the Purple Line's in place. So just saying that again.
Okay, I think I got you. Brookville Road after a Wider Circle, and it's just the amount of traffic that's going through there. See if any studies have been done, or what needs to happen to get the studies done, so that we can
it's from the bridge
preempt it before the station and all is finished construction.
Because at the bridge, there is only a yield. So folks coming from Garfield and Monard, I mean, you literally have to run across the street because there's nothing to calm the traffic coming over the bridge, because there's, just the yield. And so anything that's happening between there and the traffic light at the, Army facility, you just have to run like crazy across the street. So.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's the traffic light at Stephen Sitter?
So
to get into the Army facility?
That's the only light there is. So when that turns, but still there's a backup, and like I said, you can't get across the street to get to the right-on bus, or because the cars don't have to stop coming over the bridge, right? To get on Brookville Road, they can just yield on, which is fine when it's not rush hour. But when it is, and then watching people try to cross the street to either get to their vehicles, because some people park on the other side, or to get to the right-on stop, is very problematic.
Okay. I've got note of it, Stacy, and we'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Roger, you got another question?
Yes, sir. My understanding is that there will be no new parking built around any of the Purple Line stations. I fear that when the Purple Line opens up, a lot of people might drive down to the area, park their cars, walk to the station, and then go to Bethesda, Silver Spring, or to the Red Line. Are you doing anything to try to mitigate this problem? Potential problem?
I can say, for one, we're encouraging residents to contact authorities if they have issues with people parking in their communities. But I don't think we're doing anything specifically to address parking outside of our alignment.
Have you noticed problems like this in other zones, other construction projects, other rail lines?
I haven't personally, but we are encouraging folks, Roger, not to drive to stations or to just drop people off, and to see the Purple Line as a non-vehicular vehicle for transportation, so that the folks can take other modes of transportation, be it bus or train, to Purple Line stations. So we want folks to get the sense that this is a system that's not built for cars.
I hope you're right. We'll have to see what happens, I guess.
Yes, Stacy.
Sorry, Roger, great lead in. I had a question about that as well. So I think one of the concerns that I have, particularly as business owners there, is you probably have rules about parking within maybe residential, but a lot of the parking here is people who are either working here or workers, and the way the parking rules are set up, I don't see how it would negate people from parking on the street because of the current parking rules. So I don't know how that would be monitored. So that's outside of the residential area, but right on Brookville Road, there are only a couple of times when there technically is no parking, right? 7 to 9 and then 4 to 6 on the other side. So the current parking rules on the road don't really help solve that issue. And so we will have an issue, and employees, customers, people do park on the street. So if that gets taken up by folks who are parking there because legally they can, you are going to have an issue in the commercial district.
And again, I would encourage folks to reach out to the county or to authorities about non-residential parking issues.
And Stacy, I've noted your concern, so I will pass that word along. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Joel.
Yes, I have a comment and a question. The comment where they have when the Metro opened the College Park station in College Park, surrounding area neighborhoods which have no they have parking, but permits. They have to have a permit parking. And my question is they going to have feeder buses for the ride on, like the Purple Line from the like the Metro? They're going to have any feeder buses, like the 2, the 5, the 4, and the other ride-ons, the 15. Maybe they're going to have feeder buses to the stations. And also, if they're going to have the parking permits for the neighborhood.
The parking permit issue would have to be taken up by the communities themselves. As for feeder buses, the bus companies will decide that, but I'm sure that we will coordinate with bus companies so that we have access to our stations as they open.
All right, thank you.
Stacy, you have another question?
Sorry, no, I need to put my hand down.
Okay, are there other questions?
Okay, I just thought of one. When I see they're working on the bridge, Lyttonsville Place Bridge. So the walking, it must be the sidewalk they're working on to try to finish. Is that it? They're working on the sidewalk and the wall.
Yeah, we were recently doing that work on the what they call a parapet, which is that wall on the edge of the bridge by the new sidewalk, and putting the concrete work in there.
Okay. Okay. So that's as people begin to walk, that intersection down there at Lyttonsville Road and Lyttonsville Place is really going to be something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Other questions?
No, I'm just going to say I've seen a couple of people almost get run over trying to cross that intersection. Because it comes up, they come down the sidewalk of Lyttonsville Road. And of course, they don't look to see if there's anybody going to turn behind them, if they're coming out of Claridge House or whatever, to turn on, make a right turn to that sign there as they make the right turn onto the bridge. And so it's really tricky right there. And then coming out, it's that when people step into the crosswalk, they think automatically stop for me. But sometimes you can't see them because it's such a small little intersection there. They'll put their foot out there or come to the edge before you even know it.
Thank you, Pat. Joel Titlebaum would like to know if the Talbot Bridge ramp next to the elementary school will be accessible for the November 11th group lantern walk.
That is the goal. We need to make sure that we can provide something that's safe if we are going to do that. And considering the road will not be open at that time, we are trying to make something work there. But we need to communicate with the people who are putting on that event and make sure that we can do something that work for everybody.
Yes, Mike, we
With the
are
road being partially constructed, so that's in progress.
Yep, and we're doing that coordination. So those conversations are continuing.
Okay, other questions? Well, this concludes our CAT presentation. Again, you can sign up for construction notices at purplelinemd.com. And for project questions and comments, you can contact Public Outreach at outreach@purplelinemd.com. Or you can call us at 443-451-3706 for English, or for Spanish, 443-451-3705. We're staffing our hotlines, so someone will be available to take your calls around the clock. And please follow us on social media. We've got great stuff on Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thank you all for joining us. Now, the meeting is going to go back to Ray Biggs II.
All right, thank you, Gary, for leading the meeting for us tonight, and thank you, everyone, for your questions. We did receive some other questions that we will make sure that we provide the answers and upload that online on our website. I want to encourage you to visit our website. There were a few questions about other areas along the alignment that came up. The previous CAT meetings that we've held this fall are already uploaded with the videos and all of that. So some of your questions may get answered if you have some time to take a look at those videos to see the construction updates for the other areas that we've already covered for this fall. So thank you again for attending tonight, and have a good evening, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.